Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your March 2020 general reading. We are looking at the first half of March from the 1st through the 15th. Welcome to everyone. Newcomers, first timers, welcome, and welcome back, followers and subscribers. Thanks for being here, and thanks for all that you do in support of this channel, even if it's nothing more than just tuning in or subscribing. So this reading is for the water sign of Scorpio, or Scorpions, for the first half of March 2020 from the 1st to the 15th. So that's Scorpio Sun, Scorpio Moon, Scorpio Rising if your Venus is in Scorpio, or if you are cross-watching for a Scorpion, for a Scorpion as well too. As many of you know, if not all of you, general readings always resonate a little differently for everyone because there's so many of you watching and everyone has their own life and unique details. So if you know your other signs, watch those videos as well because it can be helpful in clarifying things further, or sometimes just being more predictive in different areas of your life. If this reading does resonate with you, or if any of them do, and you'd like to reach out to me for a deeper look at something through a personal one-on-one reading, just click on the description link below for more information, contact details. Just click on that little arrow and you'll see some more information there. My email address, which is maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. I do offer a wide variety of readings, a lot of different types of readings of all different lengths and costs in all the main areas of your life. And I'm pretty diligent at working with both your schedule and mine, as I do readings full time, to get readings out to you or scheduled with you in as timely a fashion as possible. So email me if you're interested and we'll go from there. Okay, Scorpio, let's see what's in store for you for the first half of March. Hopefully by the next general readings I just ordered a new computer so I can finally transition out of this older one and this old headset to something a bit with better audio and a bit better graphics. Technology, it's always moving so quickly. Okay, Scorpio. Let's see what's in store for the first half of March for you. Scorpio, we begin with the Ten of Swords, followed by the Nine of Cups, the Nine of Swords, followed by the Four of Wands, from the bottom of the deck, your overall energy for the first half of March is the Two of Wands. So you're trying to decide on a path. You're at a crossroads trying to decide on a path, as so many of the signs appear to be at this time. I know retrograde energy can often and spirit brings back people, places, situations into our life in an attempt to either fix or heal certain situations, or disengage and cut them out of our lives completely. So a lot of these signs are going through these, similar energies of being at a crossroads, and the challenge is breaking old cycles and old patterns, and perhaps making sometimes very difficult or challenging decisions to move on into something new. Particularly challenging if we can't see something new in front of us, but putting us on a path which opens up potential for something better in our lives, regardless of the area. And here you are, Scorpio, first half of March, at that crossroads, trying to make a decision which path to choose. It looks like and feels very much like you have a lot of stress and disappointment, or even betrayal, perhaps, about a dream that you've had, something that you really want very much. You have the Ten of Swords and the Nine of Swords over two cards. So this is the energy. A lot of stress, anxiety, worry, sleepless nights, obsessive thinking, focusing on the negative outcome of a situation in a future that hasn't played out yet, but you're kind of trying to play it out in your head. And because of this obsessive circular energy, perhaps it's very negatively focused. The Ten of Swords, which is the being at the end of a cycle, it can represent betrayal, deep disappointment. I mean, there's just a lot of stress and anxiety here about what path to choose away from this situation, or if this situation can be changed or healed or transformed enough that it'll go in a different direction, or whether you should just cut yourself off from it altogether. So this 9 and 10 of swords, and I hate seeing this energy because it's painful, it's obsessive energy, it's negative energy, and it's painful. There are some of you, it may be a betrayal here. What about? Well, underneath we have these two beautiful cards, which is the 9 of cups and the 4 of wands. So the 9 of cups is wish fulfillment. It's getting everything that you want. Almost. There's always a bit of cautionary advice in the 9 of cups. It's not the 10 of cups, which is the happy home card in a more love, spirituality, home, blessings. But the 9 of cups can be getting what you want, maybe in a more visceral, sensual sort of way, having more than enough to eat, to drink, winning the lottery. But it's having what you want and being able to overflow with abundance and celebrate that and share that with friends and family and the people around you. It is considered one of the wish fulfillment cards because getting some wish that you have. And then we have the 4 of wands, which is another one of the happy home cards, also points to a celebration or a reason for a celebration, considered one of the marriage or wedding cards, childbirth blessings. So fundamentally, Scorpio, whether this is in your home life, your love romance life, perhaps even in a job, work, career situation, it looks like you were holding out or having your sights, your heart focused on this ultimate dream, whatever that dream is. Some of you in the relationship area of your life, it could be marriage. And perhaps you've been in a relationship with someone or in a situation where something has happened, perhaps recently, or perhaps it's just been a buildup, and you're actually now seeing it as not possible in this situation or with this particular person. And you're at that crossroads, trying to decide, where do I go from here? Because it's a general reading, sometimes the cards point clearly towards one area of life than the others. I mean, for some of you, this might be in your home and family life, which could be anything from, maybe having been in a relationship with someone you were hoping was going to lead to marriage, home, kids, or some version of that. And, having events occur to where you're sitting at the point feeling like that's not possible and feeling kind of betrayed because of it and thinking, what else does the future hold? You can apply the same energy to maybe the work and career. Maybe you had, you were working towards and holding out for, on a specific path. You had some specific goal. I mean, regardless of what area of your life it resonates in, Scorpio, you had some vision of what you wanted, what you still want. It looks like many of you have been involved or invested in and on a path that you were focused that was going to be this, and for whatever reasons, whatever circumstances, whatever's happened to lead you to this point, you feel now that it's not possible, or it looks likely that it's not possible. And where do I go from here in this situation? Can it be transformed or changed? Does it involve another person and another person's free will and free agency? If they're not on board with that, then then the logic dictates that you need to make the decision to disengage from that situation or that person or that relationship, which can be very difficult if, especially if there isn't, something else to go to, which I don't always recommend because sometimes there needs to be that healthy healing period in between. And I feel like you're looking out at the future and maybe feeling a bit hopeless or in despair or trapped. You're not. Swords, even though this energy can be very, very uncomfortable, it represents that you're at or nearing the very end of a very difficult and challenging cycle. Swords is air energy, which governs our mind. Ideas, thoughts, belief systems, ideologies, the tapes that we have running in our heads. So the 9 and 10 of swords, especially the 9 of swords and the 8 of swords too, represents being trapped in your own head by your perhaps likely unrealistic ideas of what the future is going to be if you continue in this and stay unhappy, if you decide to disengage and there isn't anything else, I'm going to be alone forever, or fill in the blanks, all these ideas that keep us up late at night and keep us focused only on the negativity and not how we can actually take action and be the initiator of our own changes in a situation, which is one of the reasons why I hate to see cards, especially like the 8 and the 9 of swords, because this is not a card of action. This is a card of letting your mind, your negative tapes kind of hijack your ability to take action and take control of your own path. Sometimes we can't affect what comes into our life, but often we can, or we can make the decision to initiate change, thereby giving ourselves some kind of control. Action is almost always the best antidote and the best weapon for depression, despair, feeling trapped, because it allows you to, motion actually allows us to feel better, and it gives us more control, and we start gaining our strength back more and more as we go through this process. So let's see what the advice is for you, Scorpio. Because whatever it is that you want, whatever your wish fulfillment, this Nine of Cups, Four of Wands is definitely realizable and possible if you decide to take action and take the reins of your life back into your hands and make decisions that's going to put you on a path towards this, even if it means having to disengage from a person, a place, situation, etc., in order to do it. I mean, if you stay in a situation, a job, a relationship that isn't going anywhere, and you pretty much know that, if you make the decision to stay, you're making the decision to embrace unhappiness and dissatisfaction and a lack of joy and fulfillment. So, and that cuts off any potential paths for something else. If you make the difficult decision perhaps to disengage, then you put yourself on a path of potential and opportunity and open it up. And it also sends a message not only to the people around you, but to yourself in terms of self-worth and value, and saying, I'm going to take control of this. I'm going to open up the door of possibility for myself, if this situation is not one that can be healed. Advice. The Tower. I actually really like getting the Tower as advice from Spirit, Scorpio, because it's kind of similar, if not the same, as getting the Tower in reverse. Because it means, again, that you have the opportunity to have at least some control in the changes or endings in your life. In the upright position, the Tower represents endings and changes, life-changing big ones that come in unexpectedly. It's a surprise. We don't see them coming. You know, this man is falling out of the Tower naked, which, you know, is a strong indication of how unexpected it was. He wasn't ready for this. In the reverse position, it can sometimes, you know, depending on the spread and the cards and the situation, can represent a disaster averted. But as advice, Spirit is saying, you have the ability to create this tower, meaning you have the ability to break down whatever this is that you put so much effort into, and either have the opportunity to transform it. Now, if this is a situation like a relationship situation which involves another person or other people, they all have free will and free choice too. If it's an unhappy situation for you and they're not on board with doing making whatever changes to heal it and to make it healthy moving forward, then logic dictates that you must leave it behind. You must create this tower moment. And because if you don't, because Spirit is saying this is your advice, if you choose to continue in this and not make those changes, at some point Spirit's going to bring this in. The universe, God's going to bring this in. And then it will be unexpected and you will have less control. It'll just be something that's dropped on you that you'll just have to deal with, rather than you taking charge to have some control and some decision over it and make the changes yourself, which is always almost always the better way when this represents the ending or breaking down of something. It doesn't always, but Spirit is saying, you, like a lot of the other signs, they are giving you the opportunity to make a huge transformative change in this, whether it's to say, hey, it needs to be this to change because I am unhappy, or right, this hurts and this is very difficult, but I am disengaging from this to open up the door of opportunity in my life. So I really, really like you actually getting this as advice. Let's see what's on the other side of this, taking this into your own hands. Just 'cause. It's one of those more challenging readings, so I really like the advice, though. It means that Spirit is saying you have more control than you think you do. Stop just letting your thoughts kind of hijack you and start taking a look around and taking action. being intentional, and initiating the change yourself, which means that you have more control over it, more power. You'll feel that. You'll get stronger and stronger through this process as well. So let's see what's potentially on the other side of this Tower energy, should you choose to take Spirit's advice, which is, as I like to call it, the more mindful, intentional, purposeful path, instead of just waiting for things to happen to you that you just then in turn have to deal with. I think it's time, Spirit saying, you can take control of this. Or they will, and it's more difficult then. What's on the other side of this for Scorpio? Page of Swords, Knight of Cups, Ace of Cups. Well, for those of you for whom this might be a relationship situation, or even work and career. Again, the details may vary, but the energy fundamentally remains the same. On the mindful, purposeful path of taking the advice of the Tower card, you're actually being the one who initiates this change in your life, even if it means a breakdown, a breakup, a leaving of a person, place, situation. On the other side of this, in relationship, there may be somebody around you that is interested in getting to know you better and making an offer towards love and romance. We have the Page of Swords, who's kind of slowly gathering, trying to find stuff out, kind of watching you, looking, getting information, interested. The Knight of Cups, which is the offer coming in, love, support, encouragement. Ace of Cups, which can be new love and romance. It's also about self-awakening and self-love and self-value, being at the beginning of taking a look at and saying, hey, I'm worth more than this. I deserve more than this. I'm more valuable than what I'm feeling like now. And I feel like even if this is a different situation than relationship or personal relationships, at the very least, I feel like there is somebody else who's interested in extending a hand of help, of support, of love, of encouragement as well. Or somebody who's willing to kind of help you through this process in some way. And if it's not in a love romance way, it's in a helpful, supportive, encouraging way that kind of helps your eyes open or helps you reconnect with your own sense of self-value and kind of awakening to that as well. So it's quite beautiful. That's on the other side of the Tower. So there's some work to be done first, Scorpio. For some of you, this is going to mean that a situation needs to be broken down and left behind because it needs to be. The Tower represents endings, transformative, because so that something can be rebuilt in its place that's truly solid, stable, and reliable, or that needs to be broken down because you can no longer reside in it anymore, and so you need to move on to something else. It's run its course. You've learned it's not going to be anything more than what it is right now. For some of you, it might be complete and utter transformation of an already existing process. And sometimes that can happen, but less so than, what the Tarot card usually implies, which is that something needs to end. It cannot continue in the manner that it is. And if you do, free will, free agency, as I always say, if you do allow it to continue, at some point, the universe, God, Spirit is going to bring this in themselves because it's not meant to continue in the way that it is. And it's more difficult to deal with when it's a surprise, when we're not taking charge of it ourselves. So, FYI, right? Bit of a heavier reading. Some of them have been at this time, Scorpio. But I hope that it's been helpful at least, or has validated what you're already feeling. A lot of you, I'm sure you probably already have some intuitive knowledge and leanings. This is probably validating a lot of what you already know, but perhaps have not been willing to look at directly. So if it does resonate with you, again, and you'd like to take a deeper look at something and reach out for a personal reading, just click on the description link below for more info and contact details. Of course, you can email me directly at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the March 2020 mid-month general readings. Until then, as always, I wish you much love, joy, peace, and strength during this time, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.